Привет, Байба! Сегодня у нас 21 января, и мы рассматриваем твой анализ волос. Значит, это 2022 год. So as first we are looking at your symptoms and what you are identifying as the main problem, so to say, that you are dealing with right now. And you are saying that the pelvic pain and fatigue is what is causing the most frustration right now. So I want to go ahead and talk a little bit about the pain in the body, okay? It will help us understand your hair analysis a little better and what is causing this pain in your body. So pain in the body is usually caused by tissue damage of some kind, okay? So there is always some kind of damage. And it is usually caused by toxic metals, okay? And you will see that we definitely have some toxic metals present in the body. Second reason would be poor adrenal function. Third reason is low body temperature, which is usually because of slow metabolism, low thyroid function, as well as I already mentioned, low adrenal glandular activity. Another reason is deficiencies in anti-inflammatory nutrients. So these are omega-3 fatty acids, vitamin D, calcium, magnesium, zinc, selenium, and deficiencies of the sedative minerals such as calcium, magnesium, and zinc because they help relax the muscles and affect nerve sensitivity. Just the magnesium alone, when it's not balanced, it can be causing pain. And also when your phosphorus level is low, it causes excessive tissue breakdown, which means it's catabolic in nature. And you can have muscle tension or tightness, which is happening when you have low calcium or magnesium levels and have some toxic amounts of lead, cadmium, or mercury. Okay, so this is a little bit about pain. And so now that we're going to be going over the hair tissue mineral analysis, I will be pointing out how these markers are present in your body. So basically, I just want you to understand right now, there is a very good reason why you're dealing with pain in your body. And now that we are going to know exactly why it is happening, the good news is that it's going to be so much easier to know exactly what to do to deal with this pain, okay? So I would like for you to go into this interpretation with a very exciting mindset, being like, okay, there are absolutely good reasons why my body is going through this pain, and now I'm going to know exactly what to do and what to focus on so that I can get rid of this pain for good, okay? So with that in mind, let's get started. Your hair analysis looks very, very different from what it looked a year ago. Your body has definitely been going through a lot of changes. Okay, so the very first thing that we do when we interpret the hair analysis is we'll look at your oxidation rate. It is basically a sign, very first sign, that tells us what your metabolism is doing. And as you remember, metabolism is basically your body's ability to produce energy for all vital functions in the body. And your metabolism can be kind of like slow and sluggish slow. It can be fast but damaged, and it can be mixed, where it is probably trying to either slow down and move into more balanced slow oxidation, or it is trying to speed up, okay, because it's dealing with some kind of stressor. So the two ratios that we look at when we try to determine your oxidation rate, and you can look at your chart together with me right now. We are looking at your calcium to potassium level ratio, and it is 3.88. And we're looking at your adrenal ratio, sodium to magnesium, and it is 1.22. Okay, so when we compare those two ratios using the unique formula, we get a negative number, which means that you are in mixed oxidation right now and moving into slow oxidation, which means your body is slowing down. Okay, so this is actually really good news, because in March of 2021 you were still in fast oxidation, and when you are in fast oxidation, your body is kind of like amped up all the time. It's like constantly on high guard, right? And it's burning through minerals and vitamins like crazy. So it's exhausting itself, okay? So right now, your body is trying to settle into slow oxidation. And you mentioned that you're feeling a little bit more fatigue right now, and this is one of the reasons. When your body is trying to transition out of this fast oxidation, which is not good to be in for a long period of time, it is normal for you to feel more fatigue. And instead of fighting your body, oh my God, I'm getting tired, more often, you need to embrace this fatigue in a way that you need to give yourself more rest, okay? Instead of drinking more caffeinated beverages and stuff like that, you need to give it more nutrients and give yourself more rest, whether it is more sleep, more meditation, any kind of like relaxation activities. So that's how you can support your body through this transition right now. Another thing that is important to keep in mind is when your body is going through this transition and trying to move into slow oxidation, you have more tendency for lower moods, okay? When you're a fast oxidizer, you're usually like very happy, more joyful, just kind of like running on high emotions all the time. And when you start getting a little bit more fatigue, you have the tendency to drop into lower moods. And it's nothing to be afraid of, and it's nothing like to fight, but instead, again, giving your body more rest and proper nutrients, like we will talk about B vitamins and some support for your thyroid and some kelp. So it's like Megapan, thyroid complex, and kelp. Those three will be very energizing supplements that have minerals and vitamins in them that will help you naturally get more energy. And also your focus in food is going to be on lower fats and like more foods with B vitamins and more foods that are supportive of your thyroid. And we will go into it more in the future, okay? So right now we just talked about your oxidation type. Like I mentioned, you have moved from fast oxidation, you're moving into slow mixed oxidation. Please look at it as a great sign. Your body is trying to balance itself out and allow it to slow down. The next thing we'll look at when interpreting your hair analysis is the stage of stress in your body, and also we call it rate of your oxidation, right? Okay, so if you remember from the video on stress, what's happening is when your body is just starting to feel stressed out, you are in alarm stage. Like, it's still able to deal with the stress, put out the fire, and, without too much damage to the body, it goes back to repairing itself. If this stress, which can be, emotional, physical, chemical, mental, like all these different types of stresses, as they accumulate and happen in your body longer, or your body does not get the right nutrients or support to repair itself, it becomes more of a chronic stress, and we call this resistant stage. Okay, so like you're resisting and but when this continues to go on and body becomes burned out, like you are exhausting the levels of minerals in your body, your thyroid and your adrenals are burning out, so to say, we call it exhaustion stage. Okay, so there are 3 stages of stress: alarm, resistance, and exhaustion. The third one is, when your body is the most fatigued from ongoing stress. And you are right now in the exhaustion stage. And we know this because we'll look at your sodium to potassium ratio, and it is very low, okay? So the good news about this is that at this stage you are pretty burned out in a lot of minerals. And what can you focus on? Just replenishing it, right? And giving yourself a permission to just focus on yourself. This is kind of like your body's final call. It's telling you, okay, girl, you have to take care of me right now. I am the most important resource you have. Nothing else in this world matters as much as me, okay? So this is what your body is telling you right now. And let's go back to talking about the pain level, right? We talked how, like, when you have severe deficiencies in many nutrients, like minerals, and your thyroid and adrenal function is not optimal, you are having more pain in the body. And since you are in the exhaustion stage of stress right now, you are pretty burned out. So it's your body is naturally going to alarm you with more pain. Okay, it's just basically your body talking to you, and we are going to replenish these minerals, and it's going to help you resolve the pain in the body. Let's go ahead and talk in a little bit more detail about your sodium to potassium ratio, okay, and why it's important. So sodium and potassium are both very important electrolytes that represent not only how our adrenals are working, but also our kidneys, since that is how we control sodium and potassium levels. Both of these minerals are very sensitive to the stress response. And that's why we use this ratio to figure out how much stress your body is under. So, like I mentioned, you have a low ratio right now, and it's a sign of stress. So when this is happening, sodium is hanging out um, primarily outside of the cell where it's supposed to be, and the potassium is supposed to be inside your cell. Okay, so when your ratio is balanced, then the electrical charge of your cells is good, because sodium on the outside of the cell and potassium on the inside, and they allow all the processes, all the metabolic processes to move smoothly through the cell wall, right? When you are under prolonged stress or too much stress, potassium goes out of balance to the sodium. That's exactly what's happening right now, right? And basically, your body is not able to keep this electrical charge on the cellular level, and it causes blood sugar issues. Okay, so whether you're eating a lot of carbohydrates and fruits or not, just this ratio alone, with your sodium and potassium not being in the good ratio to each other, is going to cause blood sugar imbalances. And both your sodium and potassium are low right now, and the ratio to each other is low as well. So we have the adrenal cocktails that you really want to focus on. And also, I'm going to give you some foods to eat that have more sodium and potassium in them, okay? Because basically, this will cause fatigue because your body is losing energy. It's not able to move the nutrients in and out of the cell properly, okay? And so let's go ahead and look at individual minerals. And since we just talked about sodium and potassium, let's go ahead and talk about these two individual minerals, okay? So your sodium a year ago was low. It was at 12, and now it dropped just a little lower to 11. So as you can see, the situation did not just start. It's been going on for some time. And this low sodium level does affect at least 50% of the people. It's a very common issue because we're all under so much different stresses, right? So sodium is very important for our body's ability to respond to stress. Sodium balances fluids in the body. It balances your pH level. It balances your blood pressure. It influences stomach acid, which we will talk about more later because we will talk about digestive markers. And low sodium is one of the signs that your body is not producing enough stomach acid. This is where apple cider vinegar and GB3 will come in. And sodium is also important for insulin sensitivity and good adrenal function, okay? So if you want to get rid of this pain in the body, we need to increase the amount of sodium in your body, and that will help us improve your adrenal function, okay? So eating things like meat, some seafood, eggs, celery, right? So perhaps some celery juice with other veggies in the mornings or afternoons will be very helpful. Eating good quality sea salt and drinking mineral water, which is like spring water, right? So that's going to help us very much on increasing your sodium levels. So we are really going to work on it, and I'm excited to retest you in about 3 months because we should be able to see big shifts in 3 months if we focus on these things. The next one is potassium. And a year ago it was 12 and it was low, and now it is, no, actually it was 12, which was good, and now it is 8, which is slightly below what we want, but it is not horrible, okay? It is not like sympathetic dominance or anything like this at all. It's actually not too bad of a level. So I want to congratulate you that you're eating your potatoes and other good foods with potassium in it, because potassium is a mineral that stays, basically 99% of it stays inside the cell, okay? And like I mentioned before, it works together with sodium to get the nutrients inside the cell. Potassium is crazy important, like sodium, for fluid balance, regulates your blood pressure, and it sensitizes your cells to thyroid hormones and glucose, okay? And it helps to store glucose in the liver. So we want to keep the levels at a very good level. Like I mentioned, right now you are at the 8, which is not too bad, but I want to see it increase to about 10, okay? Again, your adrenal cocktails will be very important with that. And also other food sources are going to be coconut water, aloe vera juice, potatoes, plantains, squash, some fruit as well, okay? So this is sodium and potassium, and we already talked about their ratio. The next two macro minerals we are going to talk about are going to be calcium and magnesium. And the reason I say macro minerals, those are minerals, they're macro, that we need more of in our body. So there are 4 of them: calcium, magnesium, sodium, and potassium. Those are 4 we need to work on the most always. But when you fix sodium and potassium level in your body, then you really focus on magnesium. Usually when you balance out those 3 minerals, your body perks up a lot, and it regulates the levels of other minerals and function in your whole body. So what we just talked about sodium and potassium is very, very important. But let's go ahead and look at your calcium, and just calcium in general. So calcium works with phosphorus to control your nervous system, okay? It helps to maintain the pH in the body. It supports insulin release. Calcium is very important for pain in the body, okay? And it dictates your bone strength, your cell permeability, muscle relaxation, and when you have good levels of calcium, it protects you against toxins like lead and cadmium, and it helps us with fat digestion. 95% of calcium should be in bones, teeth, and nerves. So when calcium is in the right place and you have enough of it, you have less pain in the body. Your calcium actually looks so much better right now than a year ago. However, it's still a little low. I mean, check this out. A year ago it was 16 and now it is 31. Good job, okay? So but we still need to raise it. We still need to raise it to about 40 or higher. Okay, so let's work on eating sardines because sardines have bones in them, and that's like great calcium source. Drinking carrot juice, your kelp supplements. If you eat dairy, like raw dairy, is going to be amazing. There is calcium in runny egg yolks, roasted almond butter, cooked dark green vegetables like collard greens, mustard greens, turnip greens, like all those greens, right? And obviously, you will be taking Paramin, which has calcium and magnesium. Um, so calcium really needs adequate amounts of magnesium so that it stays in the right places. Okay, that's why let's go ahead and look at your magnesium levels, because when you increase calcium you must increase magnesium. That's why Paramin is so beautiful, because it already has calcium and magnesium in it. When you don't have enough magnesium, calcium actually leaves the cell and slows your metabolism. And again, let's look at magnesium. A year ago, it was at a 2. It was like so low. And now it is at 9. It is amazing because magnesium is very, very difficult to get from food. So we are getting it mostly from supplements and Epsom salt baths. Okay, so 9 is actually, believe it or not, a little high, but it tells me that you are currently under stress. So it's not that you have too much magnesium in your body, you're starting to lose it out of your body. Okay, so let's keep eating foods like onions, carrots, celery, daikon radish, green beans, sardine, kelp, spring water, sea salt, sesame, pumpkin, tahini, almond butter, ground beef, egg yolk, leafy greens, cacao, avocado, and bone broth. All of these are high in magnesium. But also let's manage stress, okay? So this is going to be very important. But man, I'm so happy that your levels have improved from a year ago. So magnesium is one of the most important, if not the most important element needed in the human body. And everyone is mostly deficient in it, okay? 99% of it lives inside your cell, like potassium. And so that's why the blood levels, looking at them, is not accurate at all. We need magnesium for energy production, regulating your sugar metabolism, and it also helps to relax muscle and reduce inflammation. So I'm actually quite happy with your calcium and magnesium levels overall. I think that sodium, out of macro minerals, sodium is like the main one that we need to work on right now. But remember, all minerals need to be in the good ratio with each other. Okay? Now, zinc and phosphorus. We will talk more about those two when we talk about digestive markers. But I just wanted to mention that both of these numbers went down. So they're lower than a year ago. And remember, zinc and phosphorus are those minerals that we need more of in the body. We need them at proper amounts, because when we are low, it causes us to have more pain in the body. Okay, so we're definitely going to focus on increasing zinc and phosphorus. But like I mentioned, when you work on sodium and potassium and magnesium, on those three, it will naturally improve everything else. So it's not like you have to work on every single one, right? If you work on sodium and potassium, then magnesium, and reducing stress in the body, oh my gosh, it's already going to make a huge difference. Let's look at major ratios. And the first one we're going to talk about is going to be your thyroid ratio. And remember, when thyroid is out of balance, again, that's one of the indicators of fatigue and pain in the body. So a year ago, because you were still a fast oxidizer, your thyroid was just like putting out so much hormones out there, and like it was working over time, and your cells were very sensitive to it, so your cells were flooded with the hormone, which is too much of a good thing, is not so great, right? Since now you're slowing down, your thyroid is also slowing down, and it is actually almost at the perfect level, okay? It is just a little bit tiny low, but our thyroid ratio is a ratio of calcium to potassium. See, as you work on calcium and potassium, it will naturally help you bring thyroid into more balance, okay? Thyroid is also affected by your adrenal gland function, and that's the next one we are going to look at. But just a few more words about thyroid. So the thyroid compares calcium and potassium. Let's see, potassium helps your thyroid hormone get inside your cell. And like I said, your potassium is at a decent level. That's why, like, I wouldn't worry about your thyroid too much right now. Yeah, I guess that's all I wanted to say about the thyroid right now. Good job. So, sodium and magnesium ratio tells us about your adrenal function. A year ago, that ratio was very high. It was 6, and now is 1.22. So before, the ratio was high, which means, which is very typical for fast oxidizers because all hormones are working over time. Right now, you're slowing down, and what has slowed down a bit too much is your adrenals. Okay? So, adrenal cocktails and managing your stress, breathing, meditation. So, this is actually the first one we would like to work on is your adrenal glands. And like I said, like really, how do you work on them? It's giving them, rest, less stress, and proper nutrition on these adrenal cocktails. But let's chat a little bit more about the adrenals and those and sodium and magnesium. When these two are out of balance, it's a sign of stress of the body. Sodium is regulated by our adrenal hormones, which is why the low sodium to magnesium ratio, what you have, is telling us that there is a decrease in output of adrenal hormones, which causes more pain in the body, okay? Magnesium is used up during the stress response, and low levels of magnesium can increase stress hormones in the body. So you are beginning to lose magnesium out of your cells. We need to make sure that you don't get into like magnesium deficiency. So the symptoms when your adrenal ratio is out of balance is fatigue, low blood pressure, lower blood sugar, low body temperature, sweet and salt cravings. So basically the signs of weak adrenal glands. And the low body temperature is going to cause more pain in the body. So your adrenals will need some work. And like I said, adrenal cocktails and working on that sodium level is going to be very important. Calcium to magnesium ratio is our lifestyle ratio or carbohydrate ratio. So a year ago it was high and now it is low. What does it mean? When you have low ratio, it leads to blood sugar roller coaster, and basically you have energy, then you crash. You have energy, then you crash. It can also cause like emotional issues, right? Because your energy is going up and down, so you're like have these like bursts of energy followed by crash. And also this is one of the ratios that is indicative of our heart heart function. Okay. So right now your ratio is low, as well as your sodium to potassium ratio is low as well. So you have such a situation that is called double low ratio, and it is typically caused by chronic stress. And on emotional level, it's a sign of frustration, resentment, and it's also a sign of nutrient depletion, which all those things cause more pain in the body, right? So we need to deal with that. But again, so your ratio, like I said, your calcium is a bit low. We'll be working on that. Your magnesium will make sure that you don't crash, and it's going to be just fine. So there is nothing like super much to worry about here. Just kind of like when you notice some energy crashes, just know, because these two minerals are not in the better balance, so to say, like I want to see this ratio go up, which will go up naturally when you increase calcium in your body. I mean, that's what causes blood sugar imbalances, not even always the food that you're eating, just imbalance in those two minerals. So again, we're going to be focusing on sodium, potassium, magnesium, and eating more calcium-rich foods. Not a big deal, right? And so the next ratio, the final one that we'll look at, is your calcium to phosphorus, and that ratio is high, which means that your metabolism has slowed down, okay, significantly, which is not a bad thing for you, because you cannot be a fast oxidizer for the rest of your life without getting completely depleted nutritionally. So I am actually very pleased to see how in this last year many of your important minerals have gone up. As far as toxic metals, the only one you are eliminating right now is aluminum. And here is the deal. A year ago, you were excreting aluminum like crazy. It was almost 6, and now it's almost 2. But here is the deal. When your oxidation, when your metabolism slows down, your ability to detox decreases. So it doesn't mean that we don't have these toxic metals in the body. It just means we are not as able to detox them. And that's okay. We don't need to be pushing out all these toxic chemicals all the time. Like right now, your adrenals are kind of weak, okay? If you start eliminating toxic metals from your body, it's just going to be too much for your adrenals and for your liver. So focusing, so to say, on detox right now is not the time. Right now is the time to focus on rebuilding and nourishing your adrenals with proper food and a lot of relaxation, Baiba. Like we need to, I know that you're going through stuff, you know, we're all going through stuff and there's always stress, but you just have to just commit to yourself to love on yourself like crazy. So most of your toxic metals are showing as poor eliminators right now. And you know what? Let's keep them this way. um, some of the minerals that I would like for you to for us to see increase are zinc, selenium, phosphorus, and chromium. But like I said, as you work on sodium, potassium, magnesium, and calcium, those will naturally increase as well. Okay. I'd like to look at some digestive markers right now. So when your metabolism slows down, typically digestion slows down as well. So when you're in fast oxidizer, we recommend eating more fat to slow you down. Just kind of, I need to ask you right now to ask your body to really intuitively listen to your body when you need something with more fat and when you need something that's leaner, okay? Because if you're already slowing down, just eating ton of butter is going to slow you down even more and it's going to cause more fatigue. So some days when you crave butter, you know, bring it on, eat it up. Other days, just eat your meat, eat your almond butter. You know, I know you don't like it very much, which you don't need a lot of anyways, you know. So focusing on the good quality meat with a ton of vegetables, right? And if you're craving something fatty like that butter, it means that your metabolism is speeding up. Put on that butter. If you are not really craving that extra butter, don't make this meal very fatty, okay? But so your digestive markers, you have low phosphorus, low sodium, low cobalt, low zinc, low sodium to potassium levels, which means we have a lot of indicators for poor digestive function, okay? So for us to get all these minerals and nutrients replenished, so you have less pain in the body and more energy to get things done and to live an amazing life, we need to work on your digestion, which means working on stress levels, especially around meal times, and taking GB3 1 to 3 capsules before every single meal, Baiba. And even just a teaspoon of apple cider vinegar before the meals or some water with lemon will help with stomach acid as well. So you really, really, really want to focus on your digestion, okay? And I have a feeling that you don't eat enough protein. So I know you don't care about calories and weight like some girls do, but I really need you to go ahead and get this app, MyFitnessPal, and for a couple of days record everything that you're eating so that we can get you to the right protein amount. And we need to calculate how much protein you actually need. And you can do that by following, so it's called tdeecalculator.net. So let's say you're like 40. Let's look at your weight. Let's see, you're 5'9". You probably have pretty light exercise. So it looks like you need at least 2,000 calories a day. And you need, wow, 155 grams of protein, about 81 grams of fat, and about 181 grams of carbohydrates. So I just kind of like guesstimated your weight. I put in 170, you're probably less. So you will need to do this exercise. Seriously. Go to tdeecalculator.net, put in, your age, weight, and height and activity level, and it's going to calculate you the approximate amount of calories, which is you can go higher if you want, but I need to make sure that you're eating enough protein. Okay? So, and that's what I need you to work on, getting enough protein in your body. So that way your phosphorus will increase, and working on your digestion. That way your body can actually get the nutrients out of the food that you're eating. Next thing I want to look at is signs of liver stress. Our liver feels stressed out. Let's see, when your cobalt is low, which is low, you have some poor eliminators and heavy metals. I mean, everybody's liver is a little under stress, okay? So the best way to support your liver is going to be eating without 30 to 60 minutes of waking up, and then again every 3 to 4 hours. And also eating a little bedtime snack, okay? It will replenish glycogen in your body, and it will keep the thyroid hormone T3 high in your body. So that's very important. And like I'm saying, to eat within 30 to 60 minutes of waking up. It doesn't have to be a huge meal. Anything you can do. Get 8 to 10 hours of sleep. Super important to eat enough protein. I'm stressing this out again. Working on your digestion and eating enough protein. B vitamins, which we can get from food, and Megapan. And I have already mentioned to you castor oil packs. Those help with pain a lot. I don't know if you have looked into them yet or not, but it is something that I would definitely recommend you doing. Okay? As far as supplements, I would like for you to start taking Megapan, but only in the morning. Let's just, start, because you're still mixed oxidizer. Let's just start with 1 capsule in the morning for your B vitamins. Then, very important for you to take limcomin 3 times a day to raise the sodium to potassium ratio. I mentioned GB3, the digestive support, with every single meal, 1, 2, or 3 capsules. Paramin 3 times a day, 1 in the morning, 1 during the day, and 2 before going to sleep. And TMG is going to help you bind to toxins and protect your liver. I would take 1 in the morning and 1 at night. You can take vitamin D or skip it for now, but I would take some EPA DHA as well, because it's very anti-inflammatory and will help with pain. You can take it like 3 times a day, as well as sunflower lecithin. That's going to be very good for as an antioxidant, and it's very nutrient rich, and it protects your adrenals. So I would definitely take some sunflower lecithin. Put some nutritional yeast on your food. It is a great source of B complex vitamins. Just buy a brand that's not fortified with B vitamins. I would take some kelp for some extra iodine and other minerals. That will also help. And if you want, you can take endoveges and reninamide. Okay, as usual, it sounds like a lot of vitamins and supplements, but I would like to retest you in 3 months, and I want to see a big improvement in sodium to potassium, raising your calcium, and see how the rest of the minerals respond, okay? Because our first priority right now is your adrenal glands and supporting your digestion, okay? So sodium, potassium, magnesium, three main ones. Digestive function and supporting your adrenals, which includes a lot of rest, breathing, and not letting things get to you. Okay, so I welcome all the questions you possibly have. So listen to this carefully, take notes. The beauty of these recordings is that you can go back and listen again if something doesn't make sense. But overall, I think you're actually doing much better than you were a year ago. And just I like that you're slowing down. Like I said, like your adrenals and some minerals right now, and digestion will need some work. And let's track your pain level, as we're making these changes. Like really focus on your pain levels and energy, fatigue, perhaps your cravings. Eat more intuitively, kind of notice when you're craving fats and when you don't. And notice what you do that affects these symptoms, okay? And remember, go to TDEE calculator and start working on making sure you get enough protein in your body so the phosphorus level goes up.